Hello everyone, welcome to your channel. I hope you're doing well and staying safe. So today we're going to start with our quiz 4 explanation where the question was, so there's one AWS account, okay, and there's one IAM user which do not have any IAM permission attached to that, okay, but there's one KMS key on that same AWS account, and the KMS key permission is allowing the KMS star action, that is all the admin actions with respect to the KMS service for that specific IAM user. So what do you think? Will the IAM user be able to perform all the KMS key operations? Let's say the encrypt or decrypt because the KMS key allows it, or will that user will not be able to do any operations? So I've posted 4 options to that and you have to choose the correct one. So till the time you're guessing it, let's do a practical demonstration of it. So without wasting time, let's get started. Okay, welcome everyone. So let's start with quiz 4, which was the question was as follows. User has full access to the KMS key. So this is an IAM user which has full access to the KMS key, but from the KMS key policy. That's why the arrow section is from from the KMS key policy to the user. Having said that, so there is a KMS key, and we are talking about the same AWS account. Okay, so in this account there is a KMS key and the KMS key permission. So there is something known as KMS key permissions, right? And the KMS key permissions, this key is explicitly allowing this IAM user, to perform full access for the full access, right? So the user can do anything, but there's one catch. It says that, but no KMS permission in its IAM policy, because as you know that an IAM user is always associated with some IAM permissions, right, which tells about what the user will do when they log into the console. But it's clearly mentioning that this IAM user has no IAM permissions at all. So there's nothing. You can just assume that this is an IAM user which do not have any permission. Okay, so can the user still encrypt or decrypt? So what do you think? So this is something known as resource based permission, right? When the resource can be anything, the KMS keys, or maybe an S3 bucket, or maybe a Lambda, anything. So this is a resource. So here the resource is KMS, and the resource policy is the KMS key permission, in which the KMS key permission is explicitly allowing this IAM user to perform all the actions related to KMS on that key. But this IAM user do not have any permission attached to that, right? So what do you think? There are 4 options. So option 1 says yes, key policy alone is enough. So it says that yes, the user will be able to do the encrypt and decrypt because the key policy is enough. Second says no, the user will not be able to do anything because IAM is not doing. IAM must explicitly allow it, right? Because there is no IAM permission. And the question option 2 says that there should be some IAM permission, and the IAM permissions should explicitly allow those specific actions. And third says that yes, the encrypted work but the decrypt will not work, right, in this scenario. And 4 says that it will work only if the user is MFA enabled. Okay, so till the time you're guessing the answer, let us do the practical demonstration of it. Okay, so here I am into one of my AWS account, right? So this is one of the AWS account. Okay, now let's say I've already created all the users and the KMS key. I'll just show you at a very quick glance. So this is the user that I've created, Deepak Learning. If you click on it here, you will see that there is no permission. Let me refresh the page. Okay, if you see here, yeah, there is no permissions attached, right? Nothing. Now this is just a null user. You can just say that a user which has no permissions at all, right? But if you go to the KMS, so I have opened it in my different tab. So this is my KMS key. Okay, if you see here, custom managed key Deepak work, right? It's a key ID that I have. Okay, now if you see here, this is the key policy that I was talking about, right? The same key policy which it says that the user has full access via the KMS key policy. So if you see here the KMS key, it says that allow it's allowing all the KMS permissions. So that's the admin level permissions on that key. Okay, admin level, I mean the KMS admin level permissions specific to this key But who can do that? One is the root user. Obviously the root user can do anything. This is what it's mentioning here. And the second, it says that this user will also be able to do anything. Now I think you got the point, right? As per the question, the user do not have any IAM permission, but there is one KMS key which says that it has all the KMS keys permissions for that user. Okay, if you see here, this says that all this it's allowing the KMS permissions, all the KMS permissions to this user. Now what do you think? Can the user still encrypt or decrypt? So for this, let's go to the CLI. I will show you how we can do the encrypt. We'll just do an encrypt call, and then we'll see whether we are able to encrypt a specific file or not, and then we'll do the decryption as well. Okay, so let me hop to the terminal. So this is my terminal, just to make sure that I am using the same user. Let me show you here. Okay, so what happens with this command, AWS STS get caller identity. With this command, you can see which user is currently making use is currently using the CLI. So it says that Deepak Learning is using the CLI right now. Okay, so this credentials is being used. So whatever the actions I'll perform, it will make use of this credentials. Okay, if it's very small, I'll just zoom it out. Okay, yeah. Now we have to do the encrypt operation, right? Now let's go to the documentation. Okay, so for using the encrypt, we have to give this AWS KMS key. So this is the permission, sorry, this is the command. Okay, AWS KMS encrypt. Now it asks for key ID, right? So whenever you're performing any CLI operations, right, go to the documentation. AWS has a very good documentation, and then see how it does, so how that specific API works. So in order to use this encrypt operation, we have to use all these commands, right? So if you go to the documentation, you'll see, and then it will tell you what all these commands meant for. There are so much options, right? And what all these commands does, the plain text what it does, something like that. So at the layman term, we just have to see how the encrypt will work, whether the encrypt will work or not. So it's expecting a KMS key ID, right? Now where can I get this ID, by the way? If you see here, KMS key ID. So this is the KMS key ID. How do I know that? If you go here, key ID, I can just simply copy it from here. Okay, let me copy it here. Okay, now what's mentioned in the documentation? It's expecting a plain text file. Okay, okay, so I need to create a file first. Okay, let me create a file then before doing this. Okay, let me cancel this command. Let me create a file. Okay, let's say Deepak encrypted. Deepak encrypted. Okay, let's say Deepak encrypted. I'll just mention it here, like something like, hello, my name is Deepak and welcome to the learning session. Okay, and then I'll just exit it with save and exit. Okay, if you just want to see whether it has been able to see that or not. Okay, my name is Deepak and welcome to the learning session. Now we will try to encrypt this specific phrase. Okay, now if you go with this one again, now let's do this. Okay, encrypt. Key ID. We can copy the key ID from here. Okay, what else? Okay, yeah, plain text, and they should be here. File name is Deepak Deepak encrypted. Okay, we're expecting the output to be text. We'll just so if you want to know, what does this do, this command, you just see that, base 64 is used for encoding and all. Okay, so encoded. Code, and now it will save to this file. Okay, encrypted file. Okay, I'll just mention it as I should have mentioned it as plain text or something like that, but no, no issue. Encrypted, I'll mention it as new. Okay, so this one is my plain text file and this is my encrypted text file. Okay, now let's enter. Now what happened? Okay, let me check. So if you just see here, okay, I'll just do a cat here to the Deepak encrypted new. So this is my encrypted file. Okay, now this has been encrypted. Now so if you see here, cat Deepak encrypted, so this was my plain text file and now it has been encrypted. Okay, because if and it has been saved here. Now what we can do, so definitely encryption is working, okay, with this, because I'm using my own Deepak learning credentials, and even if this IAM user do not have any permission attached directly, but if the KMS key has explicitly allowed it, the encryption works. Right, now let's see the decryption, whether the decryption works or not. So what we'll do, we'll take this file, the encrypted one, we'll perform a decrypt on that operation on that file, and then we should be able to decrypt this to this message. Okay, now let's see. Now let's go to the documentation on how the decryption works. Decrypt. Okay, so let's go directly to the command. Okay, so now which file should I give? What do you think? Obviously the encrypted one, because we are trying to decrypt it, right? So the encrypted name is this, right? Because this one is, because this is the file which has been encrypted, right? And we want to decrypt this one. Okay, okay, right, expecting a key ID. Okay, now the key ID was same here, the same key ID that we have used. Okay, again output as text, because that has been base 64 encoded, right? So this will give the text, and then base 64 encoded, and it will decode it. And now let me decode it and save it to a new file. Okay, this time I will do something else. Deepak plain text. Okay, now let me press enter. Okay, now ls grep. Okay, so if you see here, I have 3 files, right? This should have the encrypted contents. Now whatever the encrypted contents was here, what I did, I decrypted it and I have saved it to a file here with this name. Now this file should have the same content which was under this one, right? This one, hello, my name is Deepak and welcome to the learning session. Let's see, cat Deepak plain text. See, now if you say if you want to see this one, Deepak encrypted new, because this was the file, right, which I have encrypted, which I have decrypted, so it should have the encrypted value. That's fine. Now even if I do a cat Deepak, which my original file where it had, where I simply did a vim and then I added all these contents, right, it should have the original name, encrypted. See, now if you match this one and this one, both are same. Mine is Deepak and we're going to the learning session, right? So what I did was I had this encrypted file which I created here, the encrypt command, and then what I did, I decrypted it, right, and then I saved all the contents to the Deepak plaintext.txt file. And what it happened, it just decrypted this message into the simple phrase which it expected, right? See this one. So now what do you say? If you go to the question again, it says that can the user still encrypt or decrypt? Then definitely the user was able to do the encryption, the user was able to do the decryption. So yes, key policy alone is enough. Yes, it does seems fine. The second option, no, IAM must explicitly allow it. No, because you have seen that, even if the IAM didn't had any permissions, still the encrypt and decrypt worked, right? Because the KMS had allowed it explicitly. Okay, only encrypt works, not decrypt. No, false, wrong, because both of them works only with MFA enabled. This has nothing to do with MFA. Okay, because MFA, because if you see here, the user has logged in, although the user was MFA enabled, but that doesn't mean that. So MFA is not about restricting you the permissions. Even if you have permissions and then you have, say that, okay, these permissions will apply only if an MFA is enabled with that condition, then only this option makes sense. But I have never talked about, such conditions, right? So there's nothing that has been talked about yet that the user is MFA and getting MFA authenticated or nothing like that. So this doesn't make any sense. So don't even focus on this one, MFA enabled. So the correct answer is yes, key policy alone is enough. By the way, I have told you already, but yeah, this is for the same AWS account, right? Yeah, it works if both the IAM user and the KMS keys are on the same AWS account. So just remember that. And you'll say that why it's you are saying that same AWS account, why not different AWS account? Because in different, the logic doesn't work in that way. So the logic only works for the same AWS accounts. So in the same AWS account, even if the user doesn't have any permission attached, but the KMS key or the S3 bucket or anything, any resource has explicitly allowed that user from its resource policy, then the user will still be able to do all those operations which has been defined in the resource based policies. So I think that makes sense. So the answer would be the first one. Yes, key policy alone is enough. So with that, let's end the session and stay tuned for such more interesting content and wait for the quiz 5 question. Till the time, take care. Bye bye.